Good evening and welcome. My name is Su-Ling Ching, and it is my honor to be the President and CEO of the Ottawa Board of Trade. Thank you to you, those of you who are joining us live, or if you're watching a recording, for the launch of our latest edition of Capital Magazine. This is a project that we run in partnership with the Gordon Group and have for some time. I think this is our 14th edition, I think. 15. Is that right, Mel? 15th edition. And this is a magazine that we run for the purposes of highlighting local business and community leaders, demonstrating some thought leadership on specific topics that are important to our economic growth in Ottawa. And so we're so thrilled to have this newest edition called Imagine Ottawa, Build Back Better. So we are really excited this evening to be here with all of you. And at this time, I would like to introduce and thank Melanie Williams, who is the VP of Strategy and Business Development at the Gordon Group, and to welcome you to say a few opening remarks, Melanie.
Thank you so much, Su-Ling. Yes, as Su-Ling mentioned, it's been several years now, and I don't want to be quoted on how many, but probably 4 years maybe, and our 15th edition. So roughly 3 a year. So I guess it's been 5 because it's roughly 3 a year, right? So it's our pleasure to work with the Ottawa Board of Trade, as always, to help to craft an editorial that really speaks to the Board of Trade's leadership when it comes to helping to bring businesses together to take a look at not just addressing, but how to basically move forward with some programs and different types of solutions for making Ottawa a better and better city every year. We've been so challenged over the last few issues, and now doing these virtual launches as opposed to, we've had some fancy parties in the past for these launch events. So we've had to pivot. There's one of those keywords. We've had to pivot, innovate, all of these wonderful things that makes not just our two organizations, work so well together, but also the city writ large. I mean, I think the Board of Trade, you guys have done a great job in reaching out and communicating with small and medium-sized enterprises and really tapping into the energy and innovation that comes from a lot of these small businesses. And I think that just, makes us all that much stronger. So it's always a pleasure to think about editorial for the next issue. And I'm like, always get a little bit trepidation. Oh, can we come up with some new topics? And we always seem to, and they seem to resonate and they seem to be timely. So thank you very much for the collaboration. We enjoy it. Terry McMillan's here. She's our wonderful project manager who just helps to pull this all together and work with our amazing writers. We've always got different writers that come on stream based on the topics. So we're most appreciative of them and those that we interview for making their valuable time and insights available to us all. So thank you so much. Just a round of thanks from me, really, to you and to our Gordon Group team, of course, and to our advertisers and sponsors. And that's just a segue right back to you.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, Melanie, and your team are so professional. And Terry is, she is such a great person to work with. I can't thank her enough for her insights. And Stefan, yes, it's great to bring in people who make this magazine possible as sponsors. So we just want to do a quick shout out, Lynn, if we could. Share the screen and recognize these sponsors for making the magazine possible. So Eamon Harden, MPP Marilee Fullerton, Carleton University Co-op, Oakwood, EY, Hydro Ottawa, Wolf HR, The Royal, Curly Robertson Hill and McDougall, National Aquatic Complex, Sunbelt Business Brokers, Greater Ottawa Home Builders Association, the National Capital Commission, MNP, Performance Plus Rehabilitative Care Inc., and Cowan Insurance. So thank you so much to all of those businesses for making it possible for us to produce this project for the capital region. In addition to those sponsors, though, we also have a number of contributors that we interview for their own thought leadership. And tonight we invite two of those to join us. So I'd like to say welcome to Sean Hamilton, who is the VP Business Development at Canderel Group, which is a commercial property management corporation. And Tim Book, who is the VP at AgCaffeine, which is a digital marketing agency. And both of these gentlemen were interviewed for their thoughts on how we believe that Ottawa can build back better, which we've decided to change to build forward better, because there are a lot of opportunities that we have based on what we've learned during the last 22 months, working together so closely. And we just want to share a few of those ideas. So I might start with you, Sean. Tell us a little bit about the work that you do at Canderel and what you're seeing are the opportunities for Ottawa as we move forward post-pandemic.
Yeah, thanks, Suling, and hi to everyone. We at Canderel are essentially in the office space business. So, I mean, we manage properties, we provide office space for people to lease. So we're very on the front lines of what's happening, not only on our own accord for our own staff, but looking on how we position offices and how commercial real estate interacts with people for the future. And there's a couple of streams that we're looking at. One is the operational sides, and that's one I'm going to spend less amount of time on. Counterintuitively, you might think I spent more time on it because it deals with the issues of safety, sanitation, social distancing, keeping things, what I'm going to say, safe for people, which is clearly top of mind for our group and anybody who manages commercial properties today. But what we're seeing that's a very interesting side of things is how real estate is pivoting to sort of harness and support the person. I mean, we forget when we look at the ivory towers of the downtown cores that really real estate exists to look after people and to harness the productivity of people. And companies clearly are dependent upon people for their intellectual capital. Well, instead of commercial real estate being a box in which people are housed, which some could say have arguably been the mentality of the past, we're now looking at how commercial real estate can really support the well-being of a human being from a physiological, a social, and an emotional component. How does that happen? I mean, we at Canderel, I'll just look at the office building that we managed in the downtown core being Constitution Square. We're positioning our lobby so that it's no longer just an access point to get to your office, but it is a place where you can interact, stop, reflect, have staff meetings, rest, recharge, really do anything that you want to do so that as an individual, you have a choice of how to interact at your work environment, not as an exclusive part of your work, because I think work will involve home, the cottage, the park bench outside, as well as the office. So we're really looking at real estate and how it nurtures and how it fosters the well-being of a human being, because like it or not, most of the resistance that we're seeing in the community of people wanting to go back to work is because home is a better place to be in a lot of cases. And so we, as purveyors of office space, need to compete with that and help companies offer an envelope that competes with home and makes it attractive, makes people feel safe, makes them feel like they belong, and allows them to express their creativity. And by the byproduct of that is productivity in business. So it's a much softer conversation than we've had in the past, and it's all about supporting people.
I love that concept, Sean, and we've heard a lot of that over the last 22 months. You know, we really, what I think the one thing we all can agree on is that the whole person, the health, the economy, the family, the work, it's all one thing. And I think you're the one that shared with me, it's not work from home, it's work from anywhere. And
Right.
so if we can create spaces in the traditional workspace that are appealing to the talent that everyone is so starved for in terms of business, I think that's a fantastic approach. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And so we have also with us tonight, Tim Book. And Tim, you have been working at Ad Caffeine, which is a digital marketing agency. How long has that agency been in existence?
It's interesting because we've actually, as a result of the pandemic, we've made some shifts in our company to be more direct to local businesses in Ottawa. So our company's been around for a little bit over a decade now. And in that time frame, we've worked with media providers across North America, Canada, and the US. And we've really helped media providers, some big ones: New York Post, Tampa Bay Times, San Francisco Chronicle in the US, Bell Media, Post Media, Stingray in Canada. We've helped them with the fulfillment of their marketing and advertising for their local businesses, kind of behind the scenes for the most part, both with traditional media and digital media. But for the Ad Caffeine side, we've been doing that for 3 going on 4 years now. And really through the pandemic, what we've noticed is there's been a significant shift in consumer behavior. And for local businesses, that shift means that now consumers are doing more and more shopping from home, whether it be buying through e-commerce or even just doing research in advance of going out and purchasing something. And that shift is going to be something they probably won't see change moving forward. I actually was reading an article last week that said that we're now at 2026. We've fast-tracked it by 5 years as far as where they expected consumers to be and where we are now. And that's been a direct result of the pandemic. It's been accelerated. So what that means for local businesses is that we can no longer, as a local business, say, well, I need to figure this online thing out eventually, but I'll get to it eventually. It's now one of those need to have items. The great thing about it is for the businesses that do kind of embrace this new approach, they can position themselves to be a step ahead of the competition, quite frankly. Because what's happened is consumers are now doing more and more research and whatnot in advance online. And with the right digital media mix paired with some traditional media, but with the right online mix of advertising, you can become very targeted and really as a local business, stretch that advertising budget further and yield stronger results because it is a very targeted approach. So what it's really done for local businesses is it does level that playing field with the big national companies, because you can now with a local budget become very effective through your marketing online. And that's just a matter of saying, consumers have changed. I love the fact that, Suling, that we've changed it. You've changed it from build back better to build forward better, because I think that's going to be a key thing for all businesses moving forward. We're not going to go back to, this is going to be another one of those cliches. I'm not going to go back to that old normal. We're going back to a new normal or a new economy. And for the businesses that really do acknowledge and recognize the shift that's happened, embrace it, and put the right strategies in place, they can really position themselves well moving into the future.
I agree. And I think it opens up a whole new market as well for businesses, because I know even pre-pandemic, we had identified that there were a lot of local businesses that needed to amp up on their digitization so that they could become more globally competitive. And now they've been forced to do it. And in some cases, even been supported to do it through government programs. And so I didn't hear that number around 2026 levels. But I think that that's amazing. And I think that it provides a real opportunity for our local businesses who are enjoying a great lifestyle in Ottawa to be global competitors as well.
Yeah, they do say that necessity is a mother of invention. And I think that the pandemic has definitely created some necessities for everyone, certainly on a local level. And as a result of that, for the businesses who are jumping on board and saying, okay, I need to figure this thing out, it's certainly going to put them in a much, much stronger position. So I say it's one of the positive outcomes, quite frankly, of all this craziness that we've been dealing with.
I agree with you for sure. And we did recently host a talent summit with a thought leader on the future of talent. And what he had said was that there's a real opportunity for especially small, medium, and local enterprises to really, as you said, compete with what would be considered the big guys, because they can be nimble and use technology and digitization in order to do that. So I
100%.
appreciate all you've done to support local businesses in getting there.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because we are local Ottawa based. Certainly, although we've been working across North America with media providers, for us to be able to now work on a local level with local businesses, we're vested in Ottawa, we're vested in local businesses, and we can help them and help ourselves and everybody kind of grow together, then why not?
Awesome. Thank you. So Sean, I know that you're very involved with a lot of economic development organizations in the city, including the Ottawa Board of Trade. And I'd be interested to know, from your unique perspective and your vast experience in your market, what do you think the main opportunities are for Ottawa to build forward better in this post-pandemic environment, to maintain our position in the global marketplace, and to create a community that's inclusive and sustainable?
Oh, well,
Those are big questions.
No, I was going to say, how long do we have? But I'll start with the low-hanging fruit, which is our tech community. I mean, let's look at that. We have recently been recognized as a top 10 tech hub in North America, with a tech density of 10% or almost 11% of our workforce is dedicated to tech, which is the highest concentration in North America, higher than San Francisco. You add to that, the post-secondary educational facilities that we have here in the city to turn out talent with an accessibility to housing. I'm not using the word affordability, because that is a contentious and a bigger discussion that is worthy of discussion. But on a global stage, the affordability of Ottawa, or the accessibility of Ottawa, is much greater than New York, Boston, San Francisco, even Toronto and Vancouver. You add that with our quality of life, coupled with the fact that I think that mid-sized cities are gaining popularity in the eyes of employers in a post-COVID world, who are wanting that quality of life. You add all those ingredients together, and I think we've really got the embers of something significant here in Ottawa. We've hit 1 million people in population, so there's a certain momentum that comes when you hit that threshold. We do need the doors of immigration to open back up again, which will happen post-pandemic. But you look at all of the ingredients that we've got, and this is just one element. I think that the prospects for Ottawa in that regard are extremely, extremely good. So, watch that space. We've just got to make sure that we don't get in our own way in terms of preventing growth or accidentally limiting growth. But, I see a groundswell of optimism, a grassroots movement that certainly, Suling, you've been a big proponent of creating, in terms of generating a pride from within the city that becomes infectious across the province and across the country. I think you add all those together, and the prospects for the city are extremely robust.
And I know you are aligned with me, Sean, in thinking that one of the key assets that we have in Ottawa is that we are maybe still small enough, or maybe it's our culture, that this idea that if we work together, there isn't anything that we can't achieve, and there isn't any big city that we can't compete with, in order to attract people to come here, for a variety of reasons, to live here, to visit, to go to school here, to invest here. So, and I know that you've worked with us closely on creating some campaigns around attracting people to Ottawa. So I thank you for your leadership there.
My pleasure. We need to dispense with the Ottawa modesty and have a little bit of swagger and bravado, right? But it's coming.
I think it's coming for sure. And, I think that in the past, we're so associated with the government, but that our business community and our opportunities are really becoming more known. And that's where going back to Tim, that's where, the digital marketing can really help us even as a city, right? To
Mhm.
move forward the brand of our city, which we know we are positioning as Canada in one city, because we have everything, that as the nation's capital that is available across our country. Much of it can be found here in terms of that, that sense of national pride and our nature, married with our history and the parliament and the embassies and the cosmopolitan nature as well. So Tim, I might ask you the same question from your perspective, and work not just working with your businesses, but as a city, what do you think the opportunities are for us to build that brand on a international stage?
I think it's absolutely there. I agree. We're humble. We kind of have that small town community and small town feel that we all enjoy. It is super appealing, but there's a certain amount of confidence and swagger, to Sean's point, that we need to exhibit as well. And I think we can definitely change maybe some of the perception of Ottawa as far as what we offer as a city, and how beneficial it is to businesses to come and give us an opportunity to prove how amazing of an opportunity it is for them to flourish right here in Ottawa. I think there's some tremendous opportunity there. I think it's a matter of, we have to absolutely position ourselves on a global scale to let people know what it is that we truly do have to offer here in Ottawa.
Yeah.
I think that, again, the humility is great. That whole Canadian, we apologize for everything, we're super polite persona that we all have. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's fantastic. We don't need to apologize for being great people, but I do think we need to be prepared to compete and let people know who we are and what we have to offer.
Yeah. And that we are leading edge in many ways. And lifestyle is definitely a huge attractor for us here in Ottawa. And I see Nicole Loretto is here joining us from the Royal, and the Royal is just one example of the world-class institutions that we also have here. And so welcome, Nicole. Can I put you on the spot and say hello?
Sure, Su-Ling, and hello to all of you, and love the discussion. And I think if you ask yourself, well, what does health or mental health have to do with this? So if you have good mental health, then you have good performance. And I think that's where we're really, we've seen with the pandemic that the health of the community is important, and it's also tied to success. So we got excited about this this edition because it was more to talk about the research, because with research, it's about prevention. It's not about having people fill our hospital when you can't no longer cope. So we're coming out with some really using technology, some innovative ways to treat people, and the idea is to get more people treated sooner and faster. We certainly saw with the pandemic, we saw how it affected the business community. It's affected families, and we were shocked to see the because we had our own study in terms of the sleep and the demographics. So it's really like we were surprised to see that it was the educated 40 years younger women that were obviously participated probably in the survey. So we still don't know about the male, but we know in terms of the management of some of the symptoms. So if we can get some of these technologies outside and for public use in the community, that would be the ideal scenario, because we don't want the hospital just to become the only place for treatment. So if we can actually embed that in the community. So thanks, Su-Lin. Missed those social events, I have to say. Even mental health. I mean, God, who's not zoomed out?
That's a big part of our mental health, our cocktail parties, Nicole. I really want to thank you and Joanne for your leadership, and your whole team have been fantastic, because as you know, Nicole, we were proponents of this idea of mental well-being being a big part of our economic health, even pre-pandemic. And we certainly have seen the situation become even, like very dire and impacting our economy and the well-being of our community overall. And who knows, right, how long the effects of the last 22 months will last for all of us. So the way the hospital has reached out to the community, we are very grateful for. And I've expressed to you that we want to see a continued collaboration between our economic priorities, our public health priorities, and our mental well-being priorities. And the business community is a great place to see that. I know, Sean and I sit with a bunch of CEOs in Ottawa every 2 weeks or so since this started. And the mental well-being of the workforce is a huge priority for all of them. And so we appreciate your leadership there.
Thank you.
Celine,
Yes.
I just wanted to mention one of the unique things that I think Capital, our Capital Media Enterprise affords, is to be able to offer the sponsored content, this ability for like the Royal to tell their story from the point of view of a theme. Like I know you were involved with, our issue around our women's issue. And there we talked a lot about the impacts of COVID on women in particular. And that's when you started to talk about some of the programs and some of the data-driven results you were finding in terms of who was showing up at the door and why. So it's like you say, we morph kind of from wow, this pandemic's happening, who's being affected. We start to gather data, then we analyze it. And the one thing that's interesting is these various themes we come up with for Capital enables our business community, our nonprofit sector, associations to think about how they are fitting into the themes that are paramount at the time. And I think you're different people talking, like we were talking about in a past issue as well, about how the digital acceleration has just taken off throughout the city because of the pandemic. So it's trying to find that positive, that silver lining, and keep reaching for that sort of positive side of things, because we can get mired negative, but the positive is where we find the innovation and the growth and the collaboration and the will to really work together to build forward better. I love forward too. Forward shows momentum, not going backwards. So I just wanted to drop that in there and just
it's a great way. It's a great
that.
way to bring all aspects of the community together. And just before we sign off, I see Emmanuel Ray has joined us from the city of Ottawa. Thank you, Emmanuel. And we've been working closely with Emmanuel on the talent file. So we've been able to attract Emmanuel to Ottawa from Toronto, and he loves it here. And he's been working on the talent file for the city. And it's a great opportunity, would you say, or demonstration of how we can collaborate on one of the most important business issues that we are facing in order to build forward better.
Absolutely. Yes. No. Thank you. Pleasure to be here for sure. And the city's economic recovery talent plan is coming along nicely. Actually, we're presenting that at the Economic Rebound Roundtable in January. And we've found some interesting opportunities, I think, to leverage the existing programs that are all underway to support employers, to support job seekers across the city. Opportunities to centralize some of that information and avoid some duplication, keep the information as live as possible. So lots of opportunities on that side. And I think there's definitely an opportunity in the medium to longer term to really have a robust talent strategy that supports the economic growth of the city. So that's certainly very exciting. And our plan is to certainly support that as much as possible going forward. So some other exciting developments underway. The city is launching, just getting started on launching a nightlife economy strategy. So that will certainly support talent attraction. We've certainly heard that several communities, that's been a bit of a drawback, is kind of the quote unquote sleepy neighborhoods after 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And certainly we're excited to start that consultation process in Q1 of the new year. So please stay tuned for that as well.
Well, thank you for those updates. And Emmanuel, we're both involved too with the local post-secondary education institutions on a new higher local development that we feel will also support our overall talent strategy. So we're excited about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a really exciting file to see the post-secondary institutions working together really to support students and to support that academic path, but also to support their retention and attraction in terms of staying in the city, both post-graduation, but really connecting them with employers during their programs so that they have an opportunity to gain that firsthand experience and choose to stay within the city upon graduation. So it's really exciting to see that initiative moving forward.
Yes, because it has been identified as one of the #1 ways to retain our talent. So that's fantastic. Well, thank you for your leadership on that file and within the city, and we appreciate your partnership for sure. So I think we're getting close to time. So I would just open it up for any final comments or observations. Mr. Hamilton?
It's just nice to see how we're having an integrated discussion, between mental health, the workplace, nightlife, digital marketing as an equalizer, not just in business, but in economic development. It's really interesting how we can now look at the globe in a more holistic and integrated way rather than just isolated silos. And I think as we as a city start doing that, that will really become powerful for us, not just from a business generation viewpoint, but all around from a quality of life and just making this, just the place to be. So I find it very exciting.
I do too. Well, I couldn't have said it any better. So with that, we're going to sign off. Thank you again to the Gordon Group. Thank you to all of our sponsors and our contributors and our ongoing relationship with economic partners. And we look forward to working with everyone collaboratively as we build forward better for the city of Ottawa. Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Season.